Yeah, you have a lot of social housing still also, so it depends. It's private to social housing, but the average housing price in Amsterdam, but it's again average, so in and out is different, is around 460,000 to buy a house, and for renting, yeah, it can go up here to a lot, 12, 1500 euro a month. But if it's social housing, then you're lucky that you don't pay a lot. But yeah, 50% of the housing in Amsterdam is still social housing, because we want to have a good neighbors with the rich people, poor people, working class people, everybody together. Yeah, mix for everybody.
So are there more renters than owners here?
Yeah, in Amsterdam there are more renters than owners because of all the social housing.
Yeah.
Because 50% is already social housing renting. So yeah.
Tell me how many bicycles there are around?
More than people. There are 1.1 million bicycles, and like I said, around 950,000 people. But yeah, we're gonna have a housing and a bicycle stop still. So the rest of your questions,
Write them down.
yeah, write them down. But yeah, this stop, like I told you, is gonna be a sad one because it's gonna be a story about the Second World War in Amsterdam and about the Jewish population here in Amsterdam. And on this photo, you can see the building that we're standing in front of when I was talking about Rembrandt. And if you can see, it's all barbed wire. And it's all barbed wire because we just walked through and actually are now standing in the old Jewish district. And on this photo, you can see the area over there. And as you can see, it looks completely different. And that's because it was completely destroyed during the Second World War. But not by the people you think destroyed. I'll come back to that later. But first I want to tell you how the Jews lived in Amsterdam before the Second World War. Because they're relatively good over here. Catholics were not allowed to worship in the open, so they need to build their own churches. What Jews were, so you have a really big synagogue down the street here, really lovely to visit. And other European countries, the Jews could not always live wherever they wanted. They always need to live in a Jewish neighborhood, and it was mostly the poor neighborhood. So that's actually where the word ghetto comes from, the Jewish neighborhood. Where in Amsterdam, most Jews lived in this area, but they also could live wherever they wanted. So they were also scattered around over the city. And in other European countries, the Jews could not do whatever kind of profession they wanted. Well, in Amsterdam, they could do whatever kind of job they wanted. So it's relatively good over here. And a big portion of the population was also Jewish, 10%. And right before the war was actually 20%, because a lot of Jews came in from Germany. So Amsterdam was also called Jerusalem of the North. And the nickname still is Mokum. And it comes from the Hebrew word Makom. And Mokum sort of meant safe place, so the Jews thought it's a safe place. But it all changed during the Second World War. At the beginning, the Dutch didn't take Hitler that serious. They thought, well, let's sit it out, stay neutral, do business with everybody, just like the First World War. But then Hitler invaded Poland, and the Dutch got scared, and they thought, well, we may be next, and we were. And it took the Nazis only... Come a little bit closer. And it took the Nazis only 6 days to occupy the Netherlands. And I know a really small country, but still 6 days is really short. And it was even shorter because on the 4th day they bombarded Rotterdam, completely destroyed the city. So then the Dutch surrendered, and on the 5th day our Queen Wilhelmina took the bags, fled to London. And on the 6th day our Parliament, our representatives, also took the bags and also fled to London. So quite the heroes to lead us to the war, right? But on the 7th day the Nazi tanks rolled in Amsterdam. And then something interesting happened. Nothing happened. Now you would think when a foreign army is rolling into a city, there's got to be some riots, some revolts, some stone throwing. No, nothing happened. They were not welcome to Tulips either, don't get me wrong. But the Amsterdam people thought, well, we're way too small, we're never going to win this. Let's sit it out and make the best out of it. So this is actually a story about Thomas goes wrong. And at the beginning we were treated better than, for example, the Polish people. Because well, I have dark hair, but most Dutch people have blonde hair and blue eyes. So we're sort of seen as Aryan brothers. Also, economy picked up because we now could fully trade with the Third Reich. Amsterdam was also the holiday destination for the Nazis, and they told us we're not gonna do anything about the Jewish problem. We just want to know where they all live, just in case. Well, the Dutch are very organized, so they kept books about everything. It only took them 5 days to come up with this infamous map of Amsterdam. And I want to pay special attention to all the black dots. And even these big blocks are made out of single dots. Even these big blocks are made out of single dots. Because every black dot stands for 10 Jews. So with this map, they knew exactly where to round up and kill the most Jews in the city. And it's a little known fact about the city, but there was no other city in Europe where so many Jews were killed or deported. more than 90% of the Jewish population was killed or deported. And it was not only this map, it was also a lot. If you knew where Jewish families were living, and you told the Nazis that, you could keep their home. So actually a lot of Jews were voted out by their own friends or their own neighbors, because they thought, well, if I'm not going to do it, somebody else might do it, at least now get a home out of it. So at the end of the war, this whole area was completely deserted. Also at the end of the war, the Nazis knew that they were losing, so they stopped feeding the population. So everybody's in their cats, their dogs, tulip bulbs. I even saw a picture in my high school history book of a small child who's eating the grease out of the machine just to get something fatty in his stomach. And it was not only the hunger, there was also the cold. It was one of the coldest winters of the 20th century, so the people were also freezing to that. So at night, the people sent out the kids to see the wooded tram rails and bring it back home and fire it up. But after 1 week, all the wooded tram rails were gone. And then the Amsterdam people didn't care anymore. They just got down on the street with the axes and chopped and chopped and chopped down every tree what they saw. And I dare you to find one big old tree in Amsterdam. You cannot find any, because after 3 weeks, every tree in the sea was gone. But the people still had it cold, so then they did something shameful. They went to this deserted area with the axes, got into the houses, and got every wood what they saw out of it. So all the cabinets, the doors, the roofs, the floors, the windows, everything with wood in it, they got it out and burned it up. So when the Canadians finally came to liberate us in May 45 and they saw this neighborhood, they thought, what the hell happened over here? Because it looked like Amsterdam was bombarded, but it was completely destroyed by the locals. And it's a sad story about one of the darkest phases in Amsterdam history, how a thriving community got decimated in a couple of years in a city where no other community beforehand. I know everybody faces also a little bit sad after this stop, but hope actually up again on my next stop when we're going to talk about our monuments. So let's continue.